Comey memo finally released. Delusional Democrats file a lawsuit. WikiLeaks says they know who colluded with the Russians, and it wasn't Trump. And 10 reasons Hillary Clinton lost the election. Coming up next on Deceptions of the Ages News. Hello everybody, and welcome to Deceptions of the Ages News. Today we've got a lot of stuff to cover and not a lot of time to do it in, so I want to get started right away. If you haven't yet, I would ask you to please subscribe so you don't miss out on these updates. This is a very important time in our history, and you don't want to miss anything that happens on Deceptions of the Ages News, especially because I'm running for the United States Senate. Okay, the first thing that we're going to talk about today is the fact that this memo that Comey has released absolutely absolves President Trump, which we all knew that it would. So in response to that, what did the delusional Democrats do? They go and file a lawsuit. Now, if you don't know what a loser is, let me just go over this list of things, because we keep seeing Hillary Clinton running around crying to people, telling everybody all the reasons she lost the election that have nothing to do with why she lost the election. For the benefit of delusional Hillary and the rest of the delusional and terrorist DNC, let's just go ahead and remind them of the 10 reasons they lost the election. Number 1, Hillary, you leaked thousands of confidential emails from your private server. Number 2, the FBI gave you a pass when you leaked thousands of emails from your private server. Number 3, Benghazi. Didn't you get the ambassador of Benghazi raped? Number 4, the Pay-for-Play Clinton Foundation. You stiffed a lot of people by promising them you would be president, and then you lost because you're a loser, and now they want their money back. So you're fighting everything and doing everything you can just to show them that, oh, well, somehow or another, your money's going to be good. And all the things that we sold from the United States to you, you are going to get. All right, we're down to reason number 5 now. You called half of the American people deplorable, okay? Now, you don't go around calling people in your own country deplorable or any other name and then expect them to like you, all right? I mean, you want to get 50% of the vote, but the fact of the matter is, if it weren't for the illegals, you probably would have got only 25%. Number 6, your terrorist organization, the Democratic National Committee, used paid thugs to disrupt Trump rallies. Now, I know this personally because I went to a Trump rally in Everett, and my wife and I, who is an immigrant, and we're trying to get her citizenship, is attacked by these people who don't even speak English, right? And so how did they get in this country? And they don't have democracy in their country, but the Democrats paid them to come and attack us at a Trump rally. Okay, so that's another reason people hate you, and will never forget this. I won't forget it. Okay, number 7, you are married to a sexual predator, all right? Kind of turns people off. Okay, number 8, your right-hand person, Huma Abedin, is a Muslim jihadist, and he's married to a pedophile named Wiener, okay? So that doesn't really count for a lot of votes. Number 9, you are married to Bill Clinton, okay? Still, people remember Bill, and he's not really popular with the American public. So you should have rethought that before you put up your candidacy for election. And finally, number 10, and probably the most important reason you didn't get elected and nobody likes you, is because you are an extremely delusional rag. And I'm sorry to be so blunt with you, but that's the reason you didn't get elected Hillary Clinton. All right, let's move on with the rest of our story. Okay, so this memo that James Comey wrote after his meeting with Donald Trump, and then against all protocol, kept on his person and did not release to the FBI, has now been released. And there are a few issues from it that we need to look at, and first one being that it completely absolves President Trump of any collusion with the Russians. The other thing that is funny about this memo, and this is just a comedy of errors, you shouldn't get upset. You should laugh and just wait for these people to go to jail while you're laughing. But in this memo, Comey goes on, and Trump is worried about leakers, right? Well, who's the rat that leaked this conversation? Comey. He's sitting there telling Trump, oh, you got to worry about leakers, when that guy, that weasel, was going to go out and leak from the get-go. So really he broke the law there, and that's why he was fired. But this memo, it completely absolves Donald Trump of any Russian collusion. Now, in support of that, WikiLeaks and Julian Assange have come out and said, oh, there was collusion, all right, but it wasn't the Republicans and it wasn't Trump. So now let me just remind you of something, okay? Forget it. I mean, we talked about the 10 reasons Hillary didn't get elected, and I didn't even talk about how bussing in those people that they got caught by Project Veritas. They were bussing in illegal aliens by the hundreds and thousands to vote in different states, and still nobody checked into that. Okay, now, in response to this memo, I mean, it really looks like President Trump is going to be completely absolved of anything, and it's going to look as if the Democrats paid $12 million to Russians wanted a false memo that they could use to what? To manipulate the election. And not once has the Department of Justice or the FBI looked anything into this. And it has come to the United States Congress to look into this horrible, serious matter of treason. So I've done a number of videos about Comey's treason, about their connection to Schiff, and Schiff's connection to the Rothschilds, and the Rothschilds' connections to Soros. And all of this money is being pumped into, basically, if you don't understand it, they think the United States is a banana republic. And if you put in enough money, then you're going to get the results that you want. So that one example of that is in my election in state, my opponent got $7 million for her election. $7 million for a Senate race. So what do I have? I don't have anything like that, because I'm not going to go to Microsoft and say, oh, I'm going to let you import a bunch of terrorists and a bunch of people we don't know into our country because you don't want to hire American workers. No, that's not going to happen with me, but they are sure, and Hillary was sure, and it blew up in her face, that if they spend millions or billions of dollars, all they have to do is show shiny colors and happy images on TV, and people will vote for them. But the jig is up, because it's not going to work like that, and it's certainly not going to work like that in my election. So now Julian Assange has come out and said that the real collusion was not with the Trump campaign. So in response to all of this, what have the delusional Democrats done? And I wonder what the thought process was. They're all sitting around, I'm sure, smoking from a rather large hookah. And then somebody says, you know, we're all lawyers. Maybe we could file a lawsuit. And so they say, yes, we will file a lawsuit. And even though it is frivolous and we know it's going to get thrown out, we just need to have that lawsuit going until the midterm elections in this summer, which is what I'm running in. So this is what they're holding out for. As long as they can keep the public stirred up about, oh, there's a lawsuit now about the Trump campaign colluding with the Russians. And even though they paid $12 million to a foreign agent that then bought this information from the Russians, okay. So we see where the Democrats are trying to go with this. But what's going to happen is the thing will either just get thrown out, or if it is thrown out, then they will appeal it and it will be drug in. Because what they're gambling on is that they are gambling they're going to win the Senate race in this summer, right? This is the Senate race I'm in. So it is very important, if you know somebody in Washington State's 1st Congressional District, and find out anybody you know in Washington State, get them to vote for me, because we cannot take a chance on putting another one of these delusional Democrats back into the Senate. And we need to support President Trump. So I'm asking you, I'm begging you, you have to do this for your country. Nobody's asking you to fight a war or anything. Register to vote, get your friends to register to vote, and get people in Washington State registered and vote for me, because I'm going to give these people a rude awakening that they're never going to forget. So, okay, let's just reiterate what we talked about today. So we know that Hillary Clinton is completely delusional and excuses for why people don't like her. And the fact is, people just don't like her because she's a criminal. Okay, so the Comey campaign or the Comey memo came out, and it turns out it had nothing to do, Trump had nothing to do with colluding with the Russians. And the only thing that we really learned from this memo is that James Comey is the ultimate weasel, as he's sitting there as Donald Trump is worried about these leaks. And then Comey is just dead set on, as soon as he walks out of that meeting, to go and leak it, which is what he did and why he got fired. So we have that going on. And then we have this lawsuit filed by and the reason they filed it is because they just want to keep the Trump campaign tied up until the midterm elections, and then they can try to impeach him. Well, I've got news for you, because you're not going to win the midterm elections, because I'm out campaigning right now. And even in Washington State, which has voted solely Democratic, people are so angry here that they're thanking me, please, what can I do to support you? So this is how things are going. But we've got to ride this momentum into victory and putting not the same kind of Republicans, but people who are really concerned about our country. We don't need any Republicrats back in Congress. We need people who are going to support the president. And I'm definitely going to support the president, as long as the president gives me my free tuition for college students and frees the immigration and my other things that I want to do. So this is Deceptions of the Ages News. These are really crazy times. I'm going to go ahead and post a link to my Matthew Heines for Senate channel, and we'll see you next time.